I'm so happy because today I have the opportunity to chat with Susan. She is an amazing woman with a lot of experience about self-care, health and wellness. So, she's here, so I'm going to invite her. And let's see. Yeah. She's coming. Hey,
Hi,
I'm so happy for this chat with you.
me too. I've been excited like all day. Truly, I'm really honored and thank you for having me. It's good to see you again. I know we did a little connect call a while back, so thank you.
Thank you for giving me the time and for giving the energy and the space to chat with these amazing women that they are out there. So let's start with a little introduction about yourself. Tell us who you are, what is your passion, what do you do?
Absolutely, thank you. I'm an entrepreneur, and I think I've been kind of entrepreneurial all my life. And I have three teenage kids, two fur dogs, fur babies. And I run a global health and wellness business, my own team, as a side gig. And I'm all about health and wellness, fitness, nutrition, and truly well-being. So that's the small version of it. But you know what? It's been a really amazing journey. It's been a fascinating one because in my 20s, I was nowhere what I am today, and I'm still, as we all are, in the process of becoming who we want to be at all ages, right? So I thank you again. Thanks everyone for joining. Um, and I'll just share my intention today is to just let people know some strategies that have helped me overcome some big obstacles in my life so that if they're going through some of the things that I went through, they might be able to have a shortcut and not really have to go, way down to feel really good and back up again. So that's my intention for today. And thank you again for having me.
I love it. And tell me about these obstacles that you have to overcome because everybody has different obstacles in their life, every different things that we have to do in order to achieve what we want. What do you think will be no, what do you think was the biggest obstacle for you in this health and wellness journey? And how did
Hands
you
down.
do to overcome it?
Very good question. Yeah. I was in my 20s when I went off to university, and this is not to scare any parents. So if your kids are heading off, don't worry. But for me, being a twin, I'm an identical twin. So I was very attached to my sister, and we both went opposite directions. And I don't think at that time, at 18 or 19, I was really ready for that. I hadn't expected to and I kind of deep dove depression. And so I was quite depressed. I was anxious, and I went off 6 hours from home. I was so excited being a teenager to just be away from the house, but I hadn't done some self-reflection and really dove into how I really felt. So when I went, I was really kind of freaked out. And so I kind of did a dive into depression for and off and on for a number of years. I ended up leaving there and headed to a different university, completed a degree, but there was some really big heartache, a lot of judgment on myself, a lot of self-doubt, lots of those things that really can cripple us and how we go about years of our life unless we start to look within and start to use some strategies that can help us with being aware of all the gifts we bring to the table every day instead of what we don't bring or who we aren't. So that's sort of what happened to me. I dove into university a little bit too prematurely, and went for as far as I could from home. I was like, I'm never coming back to this town. And because I was one of those teenagers who really felt that the further away I could be, the better. And there's probably and not to say not to do that, just that I, for myself, wasn't really in tune with that. I wasn't quite ready for that big jump at that point. So, yeah. And how I ended up getting out was my mom had recommended a book, and then the personal growth journey began, which is all about wellness in itself, because it always starts up here, right? It's always about what we think of ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. And when she offered me that book, I'm not even sure at that point, truthfully, if I even read it. I just sort of looked at the cover, and then she offered another one. And that's when I sort of dove into some personal growth and some different strategies. And I can share with you a couple of one book that just really made me very aware and helped my life immensely, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. We can put it at the end of the conversation. When I post the video, we can put all the books and all the references. Because, yeah, mental health, it's something so big and so important, and especially at this time, because also when I was in my 20s, I really didn't care much about what I wanted in my life. And then you have
Yes.
to choose a university and choose a career, but you just, well, in my case, I just choose it because it was an easy way to start studying. So it really, we need, I think, adolescents or teenagers, they have to have like a some time for themselves to figure out what they want, not just jump directly to university or directly to what's next, because it's a hard decision. So, but
It,
yeah, tell me about the wellness journey that you have right now, because I know when you were at that time, you were not self-confident, you didn't have self-love.
oh,
How do we do that? How the women that they are listening to this, how do they find that self-love?
okay. So for me, I'll just share how it worked for me. I can't really say how it'll work for others, but I will give you some of the key tips that help me do it and really become more confident and more on purpose with my life. So I began in a number of industries, not knowing where to go in terms of a job. So I was popping around to all these different, because I didn't know myself. I knew I had a degree in psychology. I wasn't really using it. I guess you kind of always use it. But the jobs that I was in, I loved the people, but I didn't like the positions. And so that being said, I had to kind of figure out the hard way, what was I good at? What did I like to do? And by default, I ended up in a social marketing arena or business industry. And I am forever grateful for that, hands down. Like, it's probably one of the lifesavers. That being said, what I did was I started journaling gratitude. So I learned about personal growth. And that is, without exception, the number one thing for anyone on the call that's feeling bad. If you can find one single thing to be grateful for every day, as soon as you wake up, I remember reading, I just read for 12 years personal growth books. So I'll give you the short version, but put your feet on the floor when you get up and say thank you. Like, feel thankful. Many people don't get another day. So be really thankful for that you have this day. And I could imagine some people saying, yeah, but my day, I know this is happening and I hate my job, or, you know what, how do you be grateful when it's just the same thing over and or there's all kinds of things that I hear regularly too. So it's really embracing even the basics. Like, if you have to go really basic, I have a house, I'm safe. I'm so grateful that, so it's going back to the basics and knowing that your day doesn't have to end up being the same every day. We get to choose that. It's our story. It's what we say to ourselves that matters. If we're affirming that we're going to have the day, or the same person is going to come up and this is going to be crappy again, you bet that's going to happen. That's exactly what we put out there to the universe. So that's, if it's not that person, it's going to be something else. So we have to be really conscious of, and that's the whole thing, the vibe on Instagram now too. You'll see a lot of hashtag conscious living, hashtag intentional living. So that's the big key in it all. If we went with our subconscious and we just sort of started our day with no intention and no direction, that's how I ended up lost. I would say strongly to set your intention for the day, whether it's like a very broad one. I'm going to be in a space of love. I'm going to stay in a space of looking for things to appreciate all day. Even when things come at me that I don't like, I'm still going to find the lesson in it. I'm still going to find the the message that I have to absorb within that. Like, who am I being when something's not perfectly good? And that's often right for all of us. So the gratitude journaling is definitely a big one.
I love that about being grateful. And as you say, it's just the simple things. Even waking up and open your eyes, you should be grateful because you are still alive,
Yeah.
because you have a house, because you have food, because you have family, you have friends, you have something to live for. And even if you go out and you see the singing birds, you should be grateful for that because we're also part of this world, this nature. So we should be grateful to be here. So I love
It's true.
about that, about
We're
journaling.
here.
I want
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
it's
want to ask you
huge.
about I want to ask you about the self-love because when I was in my 20s, I was always worried about what my friends, when my girlfriends will think about how I look, how I dress, the haircut. So I'm always afraid of they will judge me or maybe I won't fit because everybody was thin. So I wanted to be like them, to be part of the group. But how do we change that? Because really, they were thinking the same as me and they really didn't care about it. And I should not care. So how do we change that mindset when we are younger, when we don't know what
Yeah,
experience
and
can be?
that is such an awesome question. So I'll answer that in three ways. And the first one is, who are we to decide what someone else thinks of us? We don't know that. We're guessing. And typically we're guessing against ourselves instead of for ourselves, right? If we're starting to say this person's going to think this and this, are we psychic? Like, absolutely not. So it's really good to set an intention in the day at the beginning saying, you know what, I'm open for great people to come into my experience. I'm excited to bring, gratitude, love, and kindness to all people. So when we start with that, there's less interference. Let's call it that, if we want to call it that. And I guess what we can do is, even if someone in the past said something, let's say we've all been through people who criticized us or who've judged us, like, we're human, right? But our worst critic is ourself. Like, it's really us that we may or may not want to own up to who we are. So that can take some time. And when we love ourselves, we don't get that barrage of negativity at us as much. We will get the people that align with our vibe more. It's just the way it goes. So and if your day starts off crappy, definitely get that pen out and start, affirming what you do want. So that's the second thing, is affirmations. So that was the book that I was referring to. I am this. I am this, whatever it is. And even if there's a wall that says, but I'm not this yet, I'm nowhere near this, then just use I'm in the process of becoming this. And stand with your shoulders back. Look in the mirror and declare it. Declare what you want. The universe hears us loud and clear. So we can declare kind of, oh, I look crappy today, or, oh, I've got like 15 pounds to lose, or, oh, this sucks. I got to, okay, then again, what are you putting out? So it's very much a reflection of so it's being conscious of our thoughts. And believe me, I'm in no way there yet. I have to consciously, at times I remember Anna saying, and I remember telling my team this too, or some of the colleagues on my team, I was saying, I remember starting to realize that I was saying such horrible things to myself. And I'm like, this is awful. Like, I could kind of hear the mental chatter, right? So instead of quieting the mind through meditation, every step I took downstairs, I just said thank you, or I said a good word. So I would say something like gratitude, kindness. I tried to over talk my head talk. So which one's louder? The one that's the positive one. It has to be, right? So it's like, and I was just hearing this, it's like the dog, if you're, or it's like your positive and negative self. Which one wins? The one you feed more.
That's totally true. And even if something bad happened, we need to think how we can reverse that to a positive mindset. I was the other day I was hearing to a wonderful friend, and she was telling that even if she, for example, if she had an appointment with someone and that person don't show up to that appointment, she will say, okay, thank you to that person because you're giving me time that I have set apart from you, but now I have that time for myself. So that's a good way to turn things out. So I just
Yeah.
love it. And yeah, we need to learn to do that because there will be days that we are full of positiveness and so happy and we can do it. And the next day we can be like, oh no, I don't want
Yes.
to feel, I don't want anything this day. But it's fine. It's fine if some days we're feeling bad. It's fine that if some days we are crying because we need to let it
Yeah.
out. We need to let that all those feelings out there because if not, it will get something bad inside of us,
You
and
bet.
that's not good either.
I
But you,
completely agree. You know the movie Frozen, Let It Go?
yeah.
Like there you are. Like use music too to up your vibe. If you're feeling bad, turn on some good music, whether it's 80s, whether it's things right now, whatever it happens to be. Your market's probably a bit younger, the people you reach out to, but whatever you're pumping and dancing and whatever gets your vibe higher. And it's really about feeling good. Because that's how we attract more good things to us, is how we feel. It's not about, trying to push through things. It's really right about letting go. And um, but yeah, I hear you. And I'll give an example for the young moms, if there's young moms out there too. Like I'll come down the stairs in the morning and I'll be like, okay, brace myself. I'm trying to set an intention that, that the house isn't destroyed. And that's just in quotes, but it's never destroyed. But if it's a nightmare mess with 3 teens, I'll just be like, okay, look for the good, Susan, look for the good again, just really, and I'll think, you know what? They're healthy. They're here. Like they've left a mess, but you know what? They're eating. I'm grateful they've chosen food that's worked for them and they're cooking a bit. And wow, like, so find the good. Like that's what you were saying too, right? It is find the good and rephrase what you're thinking that might not be good because it's all perception,
And I'm
right?
I'm love that you are a mom of teenagers. What do you say to them? What is the biggest takeaway that you can give them?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? It's been a journey. And what I guess what I would say is my husband and I taught them from way back. We had personal growth CDs in our car, and at times they'd be like this. No more. I don't want to hear that because they literally had rehearsed particular people that we put in, like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, T. Harbecker, I Have a Millionaire Mind, all kinds of personal growth that my husband and I were really involved in even a decade ago. So they're very familiar with it. And I try not to do the teaching moments too much because they can get mad, right? They're like, Mom, like, so I'm more the parent. So I'll just sort of listen. At least that's what I'm really trying to be. I want to put my sense in, as some people do, but I'm sure on the call, but I tend to really zip so I can then hear them. So even today, my daughter came in and sat on my bed and she's like, Mom, do you have a minute? I go, you bet. What's up? And so chatted away and it was awesome. And you know what? I wouldn't have heard that if I was talking. So that's the big lesson as a parent. Zip it, teach where you need to teach, coach where you need to coach, quiet when you need to be quiet.
I love that. And I think that can apply also to our friends, to our parents, because also with our friends, they need to talk with us. It's not just us talking and talking and talking. It's also listening to what others need from us. And I think that's part of being kind. It's be kind with what you listen, be kind with your friends, be kind with your parents, because also our parents needs to listen to us.
Yeah, it goes both ways, right? I think we learn more from others many many times, like what they're sharing with us. We're so privileged to hear, and that's our kids included for sure. As a parent, I have never learned more in my life from my kids. Like I'm amazed, like, and who you have to become and what they're challenging you to be. because they come here with you, right? So there's no accidents. The kids that are challenging you, anyone out there listening, it's no accident. Who are you going to become in order to be your best self, right?
And also, and you're an example, because even if they are listening to those audiobooks and they are like, oh, I don't want to listen to it anymore, in their subconscious, they had it there. Even if they don't want it, and even if they say, oh, I'm tired of hearing of that, they already have it inside of them. So when they grow up, they will have it on them. So I think that that's a great gift that you can give it to them. So
thank you.
it's awesome.
Oh, I hope it comes back to help them, and like they've helped me in many ways. Like they all have their own gifts, right? And we're all in this little crew or community now, and we get to share even more tightly in the last 2 years who we are and what we bring to the table every night, right? So it's exciting. It's a fun space, but not without its challenges. I'm gonna pretend it's not without that. Um, but yeah, another suggestion that really helped me through this journey too is just finding out my core values and writing them down. So in your day, even if you work full-time or part-time, if you're able to put them down on paper, probably just four, then you can always go back to the end of the day and say, okay, did I do what I wanted to do here? Did I connect with my family authentically? Did I get those 3 things done on my to-do list that were must-dos? Did I stay in integrity? And then if you didn't, it's okay. There's a new day the next day with a thank you in the morning, right? A reset the next day. So, but yeah, getting really clear on my core values were big, because when you juggle family, work, teams, business, and all kinds of different things that you can be invited to or offered to, or groups or charities you want to be part of, you have to just pull back and go, do they fit into any of these 3 or 4 core values? And if they do, it's a yes. And if they don't, it's a solid no.
And also that applies to when you have new friends and you have new people around you. If that people doesn't fit with your core values, it's better to say no to that friendship, or no to that, because you have to surround yourself with people like-minded you and that invite you to grow. People that you have they have experience, people that you can see up. So it also applies to relationships.
Completely.
So
Like,
I love that.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying that I love that. And we have 5 more minutes, so I know you have more things to say. So please do share your key points that you wanted to share, and that your intention that you said at the beginning.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you again. There's, I think, 3 tips that I would leave you with, and they are: treat yourself like you're a young child. You're not going to scold yourself. You're not going to judge yourself. You're going to laugh at your mistakes or get up when you fall. You're going to say kind words to yourself. You're going to love yourself regardless of your journey. And it's just such a good space to be in, because then you can look back and go, wow, I would never tell. Like, I would never say, you look like this in the mirror. Or, oh my gosh. Like, you wouldn't speak like that to a little kid. So look at your younger self and go, you know what? I'm going to say some kind things to whatever age you're at. And do not listen to yourself in terms of, and it's a little bit separate, talk to yourself. Do not listen. When we listen, we tend to critique. When we talk, affirm. So affirm what you want, and get up with a thank you for your life every day. I'll go back to that. It's big. And when you find the healthy habits, if anybody's looking for more information, they can certainly reach out on Instagram. There's another webinar and lots of webinars and workshops coming with my sister and I, my twin sister, which is fun. And we're also in a business together. So please find me there, private message me if you're looking for tips and tricks to healthier, happier living. There's just so many things we don't have to go through. We don't have to hit rock bottom to dig our way out. We can start now, right? If I had known some of the things in my 20s, it would have helped me immensely. And maybe you go through your own journey with with wherever you're at, and it just is what it is. But I do believe there's key things that we can learn along the way. And once we start to implement them, really help ourselves. And yeah, so it all starts from within here, right? So, but
and I love that. It's never too late to learn new things. It's never to learn to love ourselves and to start to eating healthy or having a healthy lifestyle, because we don't know how many years we're going to live. So it doesn't matter if we start now. There's never late to start. So I just love that. It's there are people that they are starting their business in their 80s.
my mom started her counseling business in her 50s. She went back to school. Like, there is
Wow.
no any of this. You're a clean slate every day. You can reinvent yourself. You can, and never worry about being judged. Who are the people that are judging you? It says more about them than you, right? So don't worry about that, and just be really gracious to yourself, and be authentically who you are. The world needs exactly who you are right today, right? And all that you bring to the table. So, and Anna, I love how you do these lives. It's amazing. So thank you. I've watched several and I really enjoy them. So thank you. Lots of learning.
No, thank you for being here. And I just want to say that about that you don't have to worry about what other people think, because that's their responsibility. Your responsibility is how about you feel about yourself. So if they are mad, if they are sad, it's the problem, and you don't have to do anything with that. And about what you say about thinking as a child, it's something that we call like beginner's mind. It's seeing the world as if you are seeing it the first time. So how wonderful is that? It's how amazing. It's like seeing a flower like you haven't seen a flower before, and then you will notice that they have more colors than they have, and then you will enjoy more the things. Even a glass of water, you can just start thinking, wow, it's water, it's clean, it's healthy. I mean, I'm starting to.
I love it. That's exactly right. It's appreciating the things that are right around us. And like, I don't know about you, Anna, but I have all kinds of quotes around me, all kinds of inspiration in my vicinity, so that if I ever feel like, I can just look and I go, wow, all things grow with love. Look over here, exercise, reading, journaling, look up here. I go through my day lighthearted and carefree, from Wayne Dyer, or Deepak Chopra, excuse me. And over here, like, I just immerse myself with things that feel good, because we're very visual in what we are, right? We're a visual, humanity's visual. So if we have all these neat things, we can just kind of engulf in that and embrace that. And yeah. So, but yeah. I love it. The flower analogy. I'm all about flowers, quite frankly. I love the garden and a botanically based business. So that's kind of resonates too. So thank you. But I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything like that. They can absolutely reach out at any time. I'd be happy to answer anything regarding self-care, self-love, mind, body, soul, skin. And I'm not going to tell you, I'll tell you. But I will say it's through experience that, like, it's just one day at a time and learning, right? And learning what you love and what you're good at, and embracing the fun. Life's supposed to be fun. Forget the seriousness all the time, right? Like, dive into some play and some fun. So, but
I love that. Life is fun. Doesn't matter what. Life is fun. So thank you so much. I'm so happy that we spent this time together. It was so fast. We have so much to talk. So I hope we can do this another time, talking about any other topics. So it will be so much fun. And please follow her. She has amazing experience. She knows about self-care. She knows about self-love. She knows about skin, about healthy products. So please follow her. When I post this, I will put all the information down. And thank you so much. Have a great, great week.
Thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.